Hey there everyone, it's Michael Beresford here. Happy New Year to you. For those that are seeing this as their first WOD for 2016, hope you had a good break. Over the Christmas New Year period, really common time for people to be assessing finances, thinking about things that they don't have time to otherwise devote attention to or don't prioritise when they're super busy during the year. Already done a couple of radio interviews and publication interviews around what it means with New Year's resolutions and actually taking action towards your investments. And one of the common questions that we get when people start thinking about how they can use their financial resources better is around super and Australians' love for property. Put the two together and you think, well, how can I buy property in my super fund, or what's the best way to buy property in my super fund? Okay. Now obviously there's going to be a whole bunch of regulations and checks and balances to make sure that that is a suitable investment for your super fund. But that aside, in terms of some general guidance on how it can work well and how it can work even better, that's what we'll work through today. Okay, so basically there are two key ways that you can invest in property through your super fund. The first is the standard one that most people think about. Need to buy a completed house. You can't modify it. Completed house within your super fund. Let's say that it's 500k as a purchase price. Okay, so if you need to put in the minimum that most super funds will allow, or the lenders will allow, is a 20% deposit plus cost. So let's say that 20% of the purchase price is 100k, plus about 30 grand for stamp duty and other costs, gets us to about 130,000 required from your super fund to be able to buy this property at the start of 2016. Okay. Now, one of the major benefits of buying property in the super fund and why it is a good outcome is because you can sell that property capital gains tax-free when you're in the pension phase of super, so when you're actually taking money out of your super fund. Okay. So if we buy a property worth 500,000 in 2016, applying the rule that it doubles in 10 years to make it easy, it would be worth 1 million in 2026 and 2 million in 2036. Okay. Now, being able to sell that property capital gains tax free means that we keep all of the profit after we've paid the loan out. So the loan is the 400,000, the 80% of what we borrowed. So that gives us 1.6 mil is what we've been able to turn the 130,000 into over 20 years. Okay. Now there will be another source of income in there. There will be some rental income because as the rent grows over time, that property will be well and truly cash flow positive, generating additional funds in your super fund. Okay. Now remember, your employer contributions over this time frame until you start taking money out of your fund will be in addition. This won't be your total super balance at the end. We're just looking at how these funds, what this can be turned into by buying a property. Okay. So if you had 1.6 mil plus some rental income that had built up in your super fund, again, not a bad result, and taking advantage of time here, looking over 20 years, not trying to get rich quick. Okay. The comparison that we'll look at is taking a slightly smaller number because not everyone's got 130,000 or that amount that they want to put towards one investment. Having a look at putting $100,000 into a development project. Okay, so you basically invest with other people to do a development project and get access to developer returns. Now, if you look at good performing developments, will achieve upwards of 20% per annum per year. So let's assume 20% as a benchmark here. And if you've got a 20% gross return, so that's before tax, gross return on this 100,000 that was compounding year on year on year. All of you that saw my WOD last year on how to calculate compound growth on the iPhone, I'll leave you to work it out. The number is a smidgen over 3.8 mil. Okay. So, given that there'll be some tax on that, if we work it out on 17% net, because you've got 15% tax in your super fund, let's do that. And that number will become 100,000 times 1.17 x to the y 20 years gives us $2.31 million. Okay, so this is gross, 2.31 million net. Okay, so there we have it, guys. Still a very good result in terms of your super balance, and better than what most super balances will get, simply because you're taking control of your super and self-managing it, choosing where the investments go. A different model where you're using less, okay, so you can get into this kind of option sooner, and provided you know what you're doing to be able to get these results, you know, we can exceed this and get about another 30% on top of where we would be here. So there we go, guys, a simple snapshot. Hopefully that's fairly easy to understand and fairly high level for you, but the good and the better when it comes to investing your superannuation money into property. Catch you next time.